This is the video blending guide for the voiced sounds. So what do I mean by voiced sounds? Well, this refers to a division we have between different types of sounds. We have the unvoiced sounds, which are made by air passing out from our mouth, and voiced sounds, which are made by some kind of vibration on the way. So all of the sounds we have in English are either voiced or unvoiced. In Phonics Friends, we only introduce the concept towards the end, even though they would have been making voiced and unvoiced sounds throughout the course. The reason we introduce this concept late on is to help differentiate several sets of sounds. On one hand, we have the sound and its voiced cousin, the sound. So F and V, or they're exactly the same. The only difference is this one is made by just passing air out of our mouth, and this one is made by engaging our vocal cords and doing the same action. The other voiced and unvoiced pair that we highlight is the S and Z sound. Now, the reason that we're teaching it here is especially second language learners and those who speak a Chinese dialect of some kind often find it difficult to differentiate these two. Voiced and unvoiced sounds are not so clearly separate in Chinese dialects as they are in English. So it can be important to highlight this and make sure that students are aware of the difference between the two. First of all, a little note on the blending before I talk about differentiation. They blend in exactly the same way. So both Z and S, as well as V and blend in the simple, easy way. We can do a slow transition from one to another. Although hopefully by this point that these sounds are encountered, the students should be relatively okay at VC and CV blends. All right, well, let's talk now about how we can highlight the difference between them. Well, there's two ways to do it, both of which are covered in Phonics Friends Book 8 on this page here. But I'll give you a little bit of a demonstration now, just so you have a stronger idea. We can show the unvoiced sounds by using a tissue. Now, a little bit of toilet roll is often better because it's smaller, but I'll do it with a big tissue because that's what I have in the room at the moment. When we're making an unvoiced sound, we actually push the air out of our mouth much harder than if we're making a voiced sound. So this can show in a way that's easy for young children to understand by a tissue being lifted up. So if I take the example of these two, and if I make the sound like the first one, the unvoiced sound, you see it lifts up the tissue quite a lot. If I make the voiced sound, it doesn't lift the tissue quite as much. Now, a bit of toilet paper, as I say, is better because it's a little bit thicker than this tissue, so you don't get very much lift at all on the voiced sound. So I'll do the same thing for the S and the Z, just to give you the example. So S, Z, S, Z. So that one, you see, it's got less push on it on the S than it does for the F sound, but there's almost nothing for the Z sound. Now, on the flip side, if we wanted to think about how we can highlight the voiced sounds, the way we can do this is by feeling the vibration in our vocal cords. So if you're doing it with the students, you can hold out your fingers like this and then guide them to put their fingers on their neck either side of their jugular. And then form the sounds. So, for the unvoiced sound, there's no vibration at all in the neck, but for the voiced sounds, you should feel vibration in their fingers. This is where the idea of being referred to as electric sounds comes from, because we can feel the vibration a little bit like electricity. So yeah, there is a basic overview of the voiced and unvoiced sound concept, how it's applied in Phonics Friends, and a little way that you can make it more salient and noticeable for your students.